Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the City Council meeting of Monday, September 10th, 2018, City of Lamarque, beginning at 6 p.m. Let the record reflect that all members of council are present. And if you'll please stand, Mayor Pro Tem will give the invocation, and then I'll lead the pledge.
Let's pray. God, we acknowledge your presence in this place and in our lives, and certainly we thank you for this day and for, Lord, this city that we call home. We thank you for every elected and appointed official that serves this city. Lord, we pray that you would bless them, bless us, Lord, with patience and with wisdom and understanding. And certainly we ask that you bless this great city and every citizen. Lord, that you bless all of us with peace and prosperity. And Lord, that those decisions that we would make tonight, God, be reflective of your desire for all of us to live in harmony. Lord, that we all might pursue those things that, Lord, we hold near and dear in our lives. We ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a couple of presentations or actually one presentation and a proclamation this evening. It's always my honor to do these. The first one is an art presentation from Mr. Paul Bernard, who is actually one of our public services workers. He came by the EDC building the other day, and I happened to be there. He is an artist. And since he was 8 years old, I believe, he's been painting. No professional instruction. He just paints what he sees in his heart and what he sees in his spirit and his mind. So I'm going to meet you out front here, and we'll unveil your painting. I've already seen a picture of it, so I can tell you it's awesome.
My name is Paul Bernard. I'm an employee of the City of Lamarque. And I'd like to donate this painting on behalf of my fellow co-workers who work so hard to serve the citizens of Lamarque, and to my supervisor, who was not here at the time, Chase Carey, who worked diligently to maintain balance and order for the public and his employees. Now, I would like to show our appreciation to the mayor for his work and leadership at this time in this office. I would like to donate this 48 by 16 mural of our appreciation to him. And I would like someone
Wow, so explain this to us. I mean, it's self-explanatory, but
self-explanatory, but here we go.
here, I'll have you hold it. Let's hold it up where everybody can see it.
I had to come from my mind after this language because I don't draw the way I
Show them real quick.
so
Fine.
Yeah.
It's public safety, public works, all the functions of the city. And he put me on top of the logo and he even gave me a hat.
I love
What
it.
you trying to imply?
he's a working man.
Can you do that on the side of a building?
Yeah, no kidding.
Did I what?
Can you do that on the side of a building?
Yes, I can draw just about anything. Myself, I try to not get into still life, poetry, things like that. My majority of my work consists of from where I come from here. I do a lot of children, things for kids. I like adults, I like, sense of humor. So you're catching my word. They have an arch show on 6th Street, on the 22nd of this month. And a lot of my work I will try to bring in the shows where I will be there. That's awesome. This is it, and I think, and I hope that the mayor likes it, and take it with them.
I love it.
It's beautiful.
Good job. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Oh, I will. I love that. The whole council on there, got their hat on. So cool, man. Get their hat like that in Colorado. It's also my great honor to call up our representatives that are going to receive the proclamation for Constitution Week. Hello.
Hello.
Y'all are highly decorated.
Oh, yes. I'm Cheryl Tucker. Very nice to meet
Ms.
you.
Tucker, it's nice to meet you.
We've known each other a long time. Not her children.
Would you say that louder?
All right, I told Mayor Hawking that one of our jokes is that I always like to stand by a good-looking man. And you guys need to say that a little louder.
Office of the Mayor of the City of Lamarque proclamation. Whereas our founding fathers, in order to secure the blessings of liberty for themselves and their posterity, did ordain and establish a constitution for the United States of America. And whereas it is the greatest importance that all citizens fully understand the provisions and principles contained in the Constitution in order to support, preserve, and defend it against all encroachment. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion. And whereas September 17th, 2018 marks the 231st anniversary of the drafting of the United States of America Constitution and provides historic opportunity for all Americans to realize the achievements for the framers of the Constitution and the rights, privileges, and responsibilities it affords. And whereas the independence guaranteed to American citizens, whether by birth or naturalization, should be celebrated by appropriate ceremonies and activities during Constitution Week, September 17th through 23rd, as designated by proclamation of the President of the United States of America in accordance with Public Law 915. And now therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council, by virtue of our authority vested by the City of Lamarque, Texas, do hereby proclaim September 17th through 23rd, 2018 as Constitution Week in the City of Lamarque, and do urge all citizens, businesses, and all professional bodies to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering the lost rights may never be regained. In testimony whereof witness my hand, the seal of the City of Lamarque, this 10th day of September, 2018, Bobby Hawkins.
Thank you so much.
One more picture, just a second.
And thank you so much for
Yes,
joining
thank
me.
you.
Really
welcome.
appreciate it.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to item number 5, citizens' participation, limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments from the public. At this time, any person with city-related business who has signed up may speak to council limited to 3 minutes. In compliance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, the city may not deliberate on comments. Personal attacks will not be allowed, and personnel matters should be addressed to the city manager during normal business hours. And while we're on the subject of city manager, we want to welcome our new interim city manager, Ms. Charlene Warren. This is where you get ready to face the heat.
Thanks.
Our first citizen is Ms. Geraldine Sam. Mayor Sam.
Mayor, if you don't mind, I would like to ask my question under public hearing number 7. I can ask it at that time, if you don't mind.
You're a smart lady. You get more time and no time limit. I think we've discussed that before. My friend, Mr. Clarence Caldwell, and one of my cougar buddies.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody out here. Okay, I really have 3 matters, but I'm gonna get 3 minutes, so let me try to squash all of them real quick. Okay, we've been having an issue with the 4-wheelers, and they had an accident. This is last month, had an accident, and the 4-wheeler was in the ditch, and the young lady, or the person driving it, didn't have no helmet or nothing. And a 4-wheeler is off-road vehicle anyway. I mean, what is it going to take? Somebody to get killed now in order for this problem to be taken care of? You know, yesterday I was going to a friend's house. There was a 4-wheeler going down Main Street. I had some car by park like it was called. You know, something needs to be done about this. You know, my next thing is the water board. The company that y'all hired, Simmons, they only had the 3 gentlemen that were sent to change out my meter. They didn't even have the proper tools to even change out the meter. And something like this, if, for instance, this is the meter, this is the city side, this is my side. If it starts leaking right off the meter, right here, guess who's responsible for that? The city says I'm responsible for it, but it's leaking right here at the meter. That ought to be the city's responsibility. You know, even in the chemical and oil industry, that's common knowledge.
Yes, sir. Is it currently leaking?
No, it's not currently leaking now, but
You
they
said-
had 2 high schoolers and they had freshmen in college. They didn't even have a shovel. That's ridiculous. And they didn't have a supervisor even supervising these people. The third incident, last week, I noticed the grass in the ditch was dying. So when I went and walked over there, I noticed that it was a sewer leak, raw sewage, pouring out about this much out of the line, plus the lift station, it was backed up and it was pouring out it. When I seen the city of Lamarque employee and told him, I said, can you come check this out? Do I got to go walk over there? Excuse me, ain't this your job? And then when I contacted Chris, and when I contacted Chase and Miss Louise, when they got out, when Chase got out, they said, man, this is a super fund. Oh yes it is, because right here, this water goes through a car park and then it dumps into Highland Bayou. That's ridiculous. When you have people that don't take their job serious, and raw sewage that's going to an estuary like Highland Bayou, man, the city would be fined something terrible.
I'll grant you an additional minute, sir.
You know, so I think, you know, that gentleman needs to be talked to, because that's something that's wrong. Don't you agree? Thank you, Chris. And Chase is not here, Ms. Louise is not here, but I'm so happy. Even when Ms. Louise tried to contact a supervisor on that side, that person told me, well, we'll get to it. Man, this is leaking raw sewage. It's like these people don't care anymore. You know, Maybe we need to start cleaning house for people to start doing their job. And my last thing on the water side, if you are a supervisor and you go on vacation, somebody ought to be in line to do your job. There's not even nobody there to even take that person's job, that knows anything that's to happen. I had several notices that my water was getting ready to get cut off right here. Several times I went back and forth. And it's okay, we'll take care of it. Well, she's on vacation. Man, they getting ready to cut my water off today. That's sad. Don't you agree?
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Mr. Bowhunter.
Mayor, City Councilman, Bo Hunter, been a resident of Lamarque 51 years. This is my city. I love this city. That's the reason I'm still here. And what happens to this city, it reflects on me. Because if I'm out of town with a group and somebody's talking negative about Lamarque, I've got to face up to it and say, hey, that's my city, man. Let me straighten you out on this. So what I'm trying to say, folks, it ain't no animosity for nobody in this building. It's the truth. If you don't want to hear the truth, don't ask Bo Hunter, because I'm going to tell you what the truth is. I'm here as a citizen. And what I'm here to say is, under the presence of the present police administration, we have had 3 discrimination complaints and 1 discrimination suit filed by 4 employees of the police department. 1 of them is a suit, 3 of them is a complaint. Now, at the time, we didn't have but 3 black officers working for the city of Lamarque Police Department. That's 100% of your minorities. Something needs to be done, folks. And I'm not saying because this is a reflection on me. See, the thing about me is that, and I'm not picking on anybody, but I'm looking at the mayor. He and I have been pretty tight for ever since he's been here. And I hope I like to keep that relationship. But you look at him, when he get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and drink his coffee and read his paper, he leave his house. He come back at 5 o'clock, get him a beer and watch the 6 o'clock news. It's a 100% chance that he's going to return home safely. I can get up at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, leave my house, no telling where I'm going to wind up. It's either I could wind up in jail, at the mortuary, or in the hospital. And it ain't because of the DWI, it's because of the DWB. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That's the difference between my world and his world. I would like for all of us to live in the same world, folks, and be treated right, no matter who you are. Now, if the people in the police department are not being treated fairly by the people that they work for, then what you think's going to happen to me if I get stopped on Lake Road? What kind of chance do I have as a normal citizen? That's all I'm trying to say, folks. I don't know how many of you on the city council knew or know about the accusations that I'm talking about, but something needs to be done. I'd like to see an outside investigation come in and to find out why these things are taking place. If you do an in-house investigation, what does that say? Hey, you got the hawk watching the hen house. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Moses A. Wilmore.
I don't know whether this is on the procedure, but can I hand these pictures?
Yes, sir.
Keep me up to date. Those pictures I handed Pete, picture of a warehouse on the corner of Albert and Petroleum. And he gives credence to his article on slum landlords. They are the absolute foundation of the drug activity in this city. Now, no matter what anybody says, you know, we can have this downtown revitalization. But we have to face one fact. The number one problem in Marque is drugs. Every way a street that you travel coming to downtown is littered just about with drug addicts. The neighborhood I stay in recently had 3 task force raids, of which you have to ask yourself the question. These raids didn't really solve the problem. These people go back and return to doing exactly what they were doing. I showed him a picture of a warehouse that is an embarrassment not only to our neighborhood, but also to Lamarque. And if he would pass that picture around. Now, we notified police 6 times concerning that particular matter. And the problem just hadn't been solved. That warehouse has been pivotal for the past 3 years for drug activity. One guy that occupied that warehouse was on the most wanted list. Matter of fact, on the deal goes for more than a year. He's back out on the streets doing the same thing he was doing. This owner of this warehouse has not been called to task one time. Not one time. And this is not to ostracize anybody, but the number one way you have to address the drug activity in this town is police presence. You have to have police presence. These people does not understand anything with police presence. And if you would, the projection of Lamarque, if you get out in our neighborhood and talk to everyday people, the projection will always center around drugs. So we have to have better police presence. Now, I don't know what the logistics are involved as far as the police being able to do this, but and this is not criticizing the present police chief, but under Chief Aaron, he carried on a 2 or 3 month zero tolerance. And after he carried that on and he cleaned up the streets, every 45 minutes in our neighborhood, there was some police making rounds to known dealers, to known trouble areas. And he kept this, first time I've seen it, I've been here about 11 years, that's the first time I've seen that done. And he kept it that way for almost about 2 or 3 years. I would be willing to talk to anybody concerning this, but to me, that's a blueprint for how you do it.
Mayor, if you allow me, point of information. We have understood for a long time that one of the challenges we have here is the narcotics trade. I just wanted to let you know and let the citizens know that we have increased our capacity to address those narcotics issues 100%. And so while there was certainly staff members that were dedicated to that, we've doubled that. I'm not going to say how many. I don't want to reveal what Chief Jackson is or is not doing, but I need to let us know we understand that that is an issue, and this council has, in a 100% way, doubled our ability to address the drug and narcotic activity in our city. You can find that in the budget.
Thank you, sir.
And if I may, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the surname and your address, just for my notes. I'm sorry, sir, what was your last name and your
Oh,
address?
Wilmore, W-I-L-L-R-E, Wilmore,
And where do you live?
1703 Brookside.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also, Mayor, would you allow, once Casey gets done with those pictures, could she give those pictures to Kathleen?
Absolutely. And I think Chief Jackson needs to see those as well. Next, we have Todd Riddled. With a name like that, you're not going to try to trick us, are you?
Not at all.
Probably not the first time you've heard that, so forgive me.
Riddle me this most of my life. Thank you, Mayor Hocking, council members, staff. Todd Riddled here on behalf of Garner Environmental. Garner is a local business here, been in business since the early 80s and has been operating out of its facility over on Main Street, 3197 Main Street, since about 1990. Garner Environmental is it's an environmental services company. Serves the Gulf Coast region. We've had a change in ownership recently. I say recently, about 18 months ago. I want to tell you just a little bit about who Garner is. With me here today, I have Curtis Galloway and Shannon Wade. Curtis has been with Garner for most of his entire professional working career, going back to the late 80s or early 90s. Shannon Wade is from the state of Louisiana. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a second, how Shannon fits in with our group. He's with a group called OMI. Mr. Garner recently decided to retire a year and a half ago. We have new ownership of Garner now. Garner has acquired a company out of Louisiana called OMI. It's an environmental services company as well. So we now have all of the OMI staff. OMI is a company who's been operating a similar business, environmental services, oil spill cleanup, industrial services, outfit over in Louisiana since the 1980s as well. So we've combined two pretty formidable players in the environmental services industry in the Gulf Coast, and now we're co-owned. They bring over about 175 employees. Garner had about 65 employees, so now the two companies, common ownership here, have 240, I believe, 240 employees. But I don't mean to mislead anybody, not here in Lamarque, but we operate out of 12 locations. We have purchased the property over on Main Street that we have occupied and leased for many years. We've recently purchased it, and we intend to stay here for a long, long time. We've purchased the property behind 3197 Main Street. That property had a Duro Road address. It's a vacant lot. We've purchased it recently.
Grant you an additional minute.
Thank you. I'm an Aggie and I speak slowly. I'll try to hustle. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have sought permission and approval from the council to replat and rezone commercial the entire property, the entire tract there on Main Street, to include the vacant lot as commercial and allow us to construct a parking lot with a privacy fence to protect the neighbors from our business activity so that they can enjoy their privacy. We've spoken to that neighbor. The neighbor has no objection. And so we are seeking replatting and rezoning to all commercial to allow us to construct that parking lot, fence it appropriately, fence it however desired or required by the city council. And that's, we seek the approval of the council.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That concludes our citizens' input. Moving on to item 6, the consent agenda. Any council person wanting to pull anything from the consent agenda? Hearing and seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion is second. All in favor? Any opposed? Item 7 is a public hearing. Conduct second public hearing as per city charter to hear public input regarding the fiscal year 2018-2019 proposed budget for the city of Lamarque. Madam Clerk, will you call the time, please? 6:30. I'll close the regular meeting and open up the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I just have a few questions that I didn't get a chance to make some of the meetings that you guys had, and I hate that I didn't get a chance to do that. But I just have a few questions that I want to make sure that our employees are being taken care of in this budget, that they're getting a raise or some kind of increase to offset. The economy is going up, so they need some kind of compensation there. Also, I want to know, in order to create the Renaissance District, will eminent domain be occurring, which will, we'll have to pay certain people for their property because I know the property that they were talking about over there, that Mr. Wilmer was talking about. I think that's going to be a part of the area that you all were looking at for Renaissance. So I just want to know if that was going to be included. And my last question is that we have not had a tax increase in so long, and I understand that things are going up, the cost is going up. So will our taxes increase this year, or will they remain the same? Thank you.
Council, if you'll allow me, your first question, yes, there was some remuneration for employees.
Good.
Second question, if you'll refresh my memory.
It was eminent
Eminent, I serve as a board member on the Economic Development Corporation, and eminent domain has not been discussed as of yet.
Okay.
And your third question?
An increase in taxes. I know that we have not had an increase in taxes in Lamarque and forever and a day, but I was just wondering, because of all the things that we're getting ready to do, will there be an increase?
No, ma'am, we kept the tax rate the same.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Going once, twice? Yes, sir.
I know that we are stretched thin on a lot of stuff out here in Maine, and Chief, we had conversations several times, and I know they're stretched thin because I know for capital, our city, I don't know why there's so much crime. It's really starting to get pathetic. Down my street, I live on Prairie, but on Baldwin, there's an individual that lives there, and he throws these parties. And these parties that he rents out, these people are not from this area. And what they do is that they are basically have both sides of the road that is almost impassable on Baldwin.
Yes, Mr. Caldwell, if I can ask you to please come back next month and discuss this, because we can only by law discuss the budget, and that's what the public hearing is for.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But you're welcome anytime, you know that.
But it has been mentioned, that right there.
Yes.
Okay. No problem.
All right.
I'm sorry.
No problem. Anyone else wishing to speak on the budget? Hearing and seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you'll call the time.
6:34.
6:34, we'll come out of the public hearing and re-enter into the regular meeting. Item 8, under new business, discuss possible action regarding adopting ordinance number 0-2018-0010, making appropriations for the support of the city of Lamarque for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2018, and ending September 30th, 2019, appropriating money to a sinking fund to pay interest and principal due on the city's indebtedness, and adopting the annual budget for the city of Lamarque for the 2018-2019 fiscal year. This is the first reading, and I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
A second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Item B, discussion, possible action regarding adopting ordinance number 0-2018-0012, amending Chapter 62, Section 62-84, Traffic and Vehicles of the City of Lamarque Code of Ordinances, Farm Road Highway 1764, to alter certain speed limits and amending Section 62-85 by deleting subsection C, which established a school zone on Farm Road Highway 1765. This is a first reading, and I'll entertain a motion.
So move. Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
I just wanted to know, the only thing I couldn't find in my prep notes were what the speed is changing to.
I believe it's chief going to 45 by the light at the new red light.
The speed limit is going to be, the speed limit right now turns to from 40 to 45. I don't know, a little bit past Wendy's, close to the dog track entrance, but now it's extending down to being pretty much right in front of Texas First Bank. That's pretty much the change in the speed limit on 1764.
Yeah, there's a new stoplight there
Right.
for Painted Meadows residents, so they're slowing the traffic down. The other one is obviously there's no longer a school where inner city used to be, so we no longer need the flashing and the school lights and all that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item C, discussion, possible action regarding the planning and zoning recommendation for denial of a rezone from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 General Commercial, being a tract or parcel of land containing 1.3684 acres of land, or 59,606 square feet, located in the Stephen F. Austin League Abstract 2, Galveston County, Texas. Said 1.3684 acre tract being all of tracts 1 and 2 of record in the name of Lamarque Investment Group, Inc. in Galveston County Clerk File number 9103747, and being all of that tract of land of record in the name of Hazel Benton, of record in the GCCF number 8723178, said 1.3684 acre tract being more particularly described as bearings based on said GCCF number 9103747. This is also known as 3197 Main, and a lot on DeRue and contiguous to 3197 Main. Is this what we just heard about?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'll entertain a motion for either denial or approval.
Motion for approval.
There's a motion for approval. Is there a second?
I will second for the purposes of discussion.
For the purpose of discussion,
Yes,
there's
sir.
been a second. Mr. Mitchell, I believe you attended these meetings
I
and
did.
have done your due diligence. Can you explain to the citizens and the council why you're now a proponent of this?
This falls into what would be considered spot zoning in the area. And the planning and zoning had originally denied it because there was concern about letters that were sent out. Previously, the city had been using registered letters sent to nearby residents. The requirement is any property within 200 feet. It wasn't clear, the statement in the letter that it was clear to the people, but I believe Ms. Sutton here could speak to that. Her statements to me was that she did receive a couple of feedbacks from some of the neighbors, and they were positive, they weren't negative. I made some calls because I was in attendance at Planning and Zoning, that is my adopted board, and because there was this disagreement, or, Planning and Zoning cannot just arbitrarily approve something, even though we're in favor of it, without knowing fully that all residents had been contacted and that there was no issues. I had made contact with one individual, but his property is on the other side of 519. Should not be an issue there. But Ms. Sutton, if you would speak to the ones that did respond back.
Good afternoon. I received 3 to 4 responses, people calling in or coming in wanting to know where the property was located, what kind of property it was, what kind of business was it, and they had no negative comments to add. They just wanted to know where it was. They realized when I told them where it was at, they realized that that company had been there an awfully long time, and they just didn't even notice that it was there anymore. So nobody said anything negative about it, and so they were all okay with it.
Thank you. To the gentleman with Garner Environmental, normally this would have been taken care of in Planning and Zoning. We are in favor of what you're doing. We do want you to commit that you will privacy fence the parking, as what you've said. And I'm in support of, after doing my due diligence on it, I'm in support of it, and I would recommend that to the council today.
Thank you. I'd like to say to you and the council members, I would have attended that proceeding, but I just, I wasn't aware that I was invited. So I would have come and advocated for a position at that time. But yes, to answer your question, we absolutely will make a privacy fence and for the neighbors behind us, I'm sure.
Well, coming from an Aggie, I'll accept your word on that, so.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just needed 3 more points.
Yeah, that's right. Those 3 that we missed at the beginning of the game,
It happens. Mayor Pro, is there any further discussion?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem, would you like to change your second from discussion to an actual vote second?
Yeah.
If there's no further discussion, I'll go ahead and call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item D, discussion, possible action regarding the Planning and Zoning recommendation for denial of a replat, being a tractor parcel of land containing 1.3684 acres of land, or 59,600 square feet, located in the SF Austin League Abstract 2, Galveston County, Texas. This is the same piece of property as delineated in item C. I'll entertain a motion for denial or approval.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
The only thing I would say is, I am in favor of this. It seems like it's a logical step, particularly since the city's done its due diligence, there's no complaints, business has been there a long time. The one thing I would say is that lot in particular, there's so many lovely trees there, and I do know that, I know I'm talking about trees again, but, it's, particularly with all the rain we're having, it's always on my mind, the addition of concrete and the loss of land to soak up excess water. I would love it if you guys would consider really, some actual substantial landscaping that goes along with that. And not just like box hedges, something that's native, makes sense, has deep root systems, and can be planted in addition with the privacy fence and the parking lot. Something that is in mind of the future use of that area. But I think it's a great decision. I'm totally in favor of it.
And I will say, represent to all of you, we will do everything we can to preserve, the trees we have. There are some trees, and we will definitely do that, as you requested. And we plan simply to do a gravel parking lot, not just pave with concrete. I think that's feasible, but we definitely are, we will make the effort to be conscious of the trees and the presence of some landscape.
Wonderful.
Ms. Sutton, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to add that when they do submit their plans for the gravel pavement of the lot behind them, we will address drainage at that time.
Great.
They'll have to meet requirements.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, this item will have to return in October for first reading to include an ordinance. Since we weren't certain it would pass tonight, we did not include an ordinance for this item, either
Okay.
the rezone or
The replat? So we'll visit
Rezone.
item D, the replat, in October, where we'll have to draft an ordinance for that. So you waited how many years for this lot? You're going to have to wait a little longer. So I'll go ahead and if you'll withdraw your motion.
I'll withdraw.
He's withdrawing his second, and we will table this till an ordinance can be drawn up.
I'm
And-
sorry, it's the rezone, not the replat.
It says replat?
No, on item C, the one before that.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
All rezones have to be done by ordinance.
Oh, you're talking about item C needs to be in ordinance?
Yes, sir, it'll be revisited in October.
And D is okay?
Yes, sir.
I'll take that motion back and that second back. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item C, we will pull off until we can have the ordinance drawn up. Item E, and I'm excited about this one because it's been a long time coming. Discussion, possible action regarding adoption of the City of Lamarque Brand Style Guide. Ms. Colleen Merritt. And we'll go ahead and have this presentation before we do any discussion. Is that fine, Mr. Attorney? Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the brand style guide that we are presenting today was included in the packet. What I just gave to council just has a couple of additions. The only addition is the secondary color palette, which you should see in there, and a few tweaks to logo types. Nothing major. So this is born because we had this beautiful logo design, and I'm not really sure what year, Kyle might know, but we've had it about 5 or 6 years. And so when I came to work here 2 years ago, my background is marketing and PR, and we had a beautiful logo. We also had a lot of other things going on. Every department was doing something a little bit different, and so to get on the same page, companies all over the world develop these brand style guides. So it helps us stay polished, and it helps us present ourselves to the world. And so from our beautiful logo, we developed this guide, and it addresses issues like basic things for like the spelling of Lamarque, it's spelled with 2 words, Lamarque, all the way up to departmental things like making sure we're using the same font. Again, it's just a standard for polish. It's to focus on the internal, so the city employees first can use this as a guide and feel confident that when they're communicating with the community that we have the same voice. And then externally, it'll help us just be professional in the county and the world. So it's just going to help us solidify our brand as we grow as a city. Any questions that you have or feedback? I'd love to-
I have comment. I believe we did appropriate $10,000 for your study already as a council. And so, obviously, when we did that, we were in support of your knowledge and your direction. And I want to personally thank you for not spending the 2 cents you have left in that budget, probably.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think this is really exciting, and I'm in such agreement that it's such a great step for the city, just adding extra polish and more cohesion. I had a question whether you'll get to do like little mini trainings for anyone who creates content, for the city on behalf, like anyone within our different departments, so that they will absolutely do everything.
So here's some examples of our envelopes. These are different departments in the city, and they all have different envelopes. So this goes deeper than just envelopes. It's about how we present ourselves to the world. And so, yes, I would love to do a staff training, and, we're not changing anything. These are fonts that we're already using. These are elements that we're already using in the city.
Continuity.
Yes, it's just exactly. Put it together and add some polish.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item, item F, discussion, possible action regarding creation of the Lamarque Renaissance District and adoption of Lamarque Renaissance District Development Guidelines. Ms. Merritt.
I have more paper. This is I don't have enough for council, mayor council. So the Southern Shores and Beaches would not fit in your packet. And so it's a guide.
I've seen this if you'd like.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
So the Renaissance District is downtown Lamarque. And so the Economic Development Corporation and the city of Lamarque decided that we wanted to revitalize our downtown. And we brought on Texas A&M Coastal Watershed, and we had a study done. And from that, the study recommended that we develop the district. And so the first steps in that revitalization project are the Economic Development Corporation building. So that's 1131st Street, so we're ground zero. And then right across the street is 401 and 405 Laurel, that we should be updating the exterior facade anytime now. So that development and the news is spurring organic activity downtown. And so it's important to develop the district and then provide some guidelines for the new businesses trying to come in, or the ones redeveloping their own properties, so that we can direct our growth and try to help realize the vision. And so this is what council is looking at. These are colors. And so it's everything from colors to sign shapes to just basic development guides that will help those businesses fast track if they want to develop downtown. So the specific area that we're talking about, let me read it so you miss that. Can help you. Laurel Street from Bayou to Yukon, and First Street from Bayou to Highway 3. So it's not a huge area. We're starting there, or like if council approves, developing that district there, and then we can branch out and continue to grow and continue to expand the district. It's a good starting point. And it was recommended by A&M.
Wonderful. And are you keeping the tenants surprise of the newly renovated building? Or can we say who they are tonight?
Okay, Mayor, go ahead.
Well, I'm excited about it. First of all, Art of Coffee out of Kemah is coming into one section of that building, which EDC will spend about $1 million on architectural design and building the front of that building. And in the other spot is a restaurant called Birdie's, which is obviously a golf theme. And they have all sorts of burgers and beer and salads and just anything that a person would want to eat. And we're very excited that these two entities are coming to give us more selection in downtown eating opportunities. So we're very, very, very excited about that. And they're already signed their leases and they're ready to go. They're just waiting for the building to be renovated.
So the plan that you have in your packet was reviewed by Economic Development Corporation Board and Planning and Zoning. and it required no changes.
Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Item G, discussion possible action regarding adoption of City of Lamarque social media policy. Ms. Merrick.
One more book.
Came well prepared.
Yes, sir. So the social media policy was one of the tasks that I was given when I started working for the City of Lamarque and Marque Development Corporation. It's very important in today's workforce and in today's climate to have a policy that protects the city, and it also gives us guidelines for how to interact with our citizens online. So we did a lot of research. I was sent to a conference, and then we brought on some experts. And through all of that experience, we developed the social media policy, which was in the packet. It lays out employee behavior and instructions, and then how to moderate third-party content. What that means is how to interact with citizens online. And it's been reviewed by legal, so I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Ms. Merritt.
Thank you.
I see you brought your husband here for backup tonight.
And my mom.
And your mama? Well, introduce him to us.
This is Carol Martin and her husband Larry Kraft, and my husband Gabe Merritt over there.
How y'all doing? Good to have you. Welcome. Your daughter and your wife are doing a great job. She's doing a wonderful job. We actually have a flag with that logo on it, I believe. If we don't, we'll get one. Moving on, thank you, Ms. Merritt. Moving on to item 9, appointments, nominations, discussion, possible action regarding adopting resolution number R-2018-0022, designating members of the City Council as representative and official alternate to the General Assembly of the Houston-Galveston Area Council for the year 2019. I have done this every year, I believe. I now serve on 7 boards. I'm the chairman of 2 and the president of the other, and I would appreciate giving someone else the opportunity to serve on this very important board.
I would like to nominate Councilman Mistich.
There's been a nomination of Councilman Midgestich, and for the alternate.
I'd like to nominate Councilwoman McAuliffe.
We have nominations. There's no discussion on nominations, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Praise the Lord. Item B, discussion, possible action regarding submission of candidate choices for places 11-14 to the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Board of Trustees. You have a list of those in your backup. We believe those are the best choices because actually I believe they're the best choices. Robin and I went through this list and sought people who were in our region. In other words, we don't want somebody from Amarillo representing us. We'd rather have someone closer. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Items, and listen, we're almost going to get home in time for Bachelor in Paradise, so everybody relax. Just relax. You'll be okay. Item C, a discussion, possible action regarding appointments and/or reappointments to fill various positions of the boards and commissions. Anyone have any appointments or reappointments this evening?
I would like to appoint Mr. Larry Walker to the Parks Board.
There's been a motion to reappoint Larry Walker to the Parks Board. Are there any others? Hearing and seeing none, we'll take that, and I'll need a second on that.
Second.
There's a second. No discussion on a nomination. All in favor? Any opposed? There is no executive session this evening, so we'll take requests and announcements. We'll begin with District D.
I would first like to thank my fellow council members and mayor for the very productive workshop that we had before, and it makes me proud to serve on this council, that we can come together, have disagreements, make resolutions, and move forward, all with our eye on the prize, which is making Lamarque better and better. And everyone else, just be safe out there.
Mr. Mistich.
Thank you, everyone, for showing up. This is a good crowd. We like to see more participation and people showing up for our meetings. And again, anytime you have something before one of our commissions, it's open to the public, any of our board and commission members. One of the things that we discussed today was getting and energizing people to serve on these boards. And we recognize that it takes time out of your lives to do this, but we all sit back and we think somebody else is going to do it, and we invite your participation. And we do respect it, and we appreciate that participation. Thank you.
Councilman Lane. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, a request. Charlene.
Yes, sir.
I would like for you to provide the council with legal alternative meeting, what would we call it, settings. Anything that the state would deem legal, whether it be video conferencing, teleconferencing, any sort of meeting arrangement that we could be educated on, so that we might be able to provide this at some point, maybe not this year, next year, down the line, but provide that as an opportunity for our boards and commissions to perhaps use, so that we might be able to attract and retain more folks in our city that would like to volunteer, but simply just don't have the time, or maybe they have small children and they don't have sitters. You know, they might be able to work and meet through technology from home. Secondly, this is the first official regular meeting that Mrs. Carol Butler is no longer our city manager. I want to welcome, not to the city, but certainly to this position, Charlene Warren, who is our interim city manager. She has been Mrs. Butler's right hand for a good number of months, if not years.
3 years.
3 years?
Yes, sir.
Wow, 3 years. Goodness gracious, this time has flied.
Happens when you get older, bro.
That's what's happening. That even proves my point more. Certainly she's capable, more than capable, of steering the city and directing our staff until we find a permanent replacement. But I also wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Carol Butler, who was our city manager, who has guided the city through difficult times. We have, in her tenure, we have went from having a significant deficit to now a significant surplus. We have been on the verge of opening a new fire station in her tenure. We've added several staff persons in key positions to our city who's been of benefit. Chief Gerald Grimm would be one. Obviously, Chief Kirk Jackson would be another. Susie Koo would be another. Our finance director, so on and so forth. And also, she has been a person who's been responsible for innovating many of our departments, adding to our departments. And she, sir, is the city manager that was responsible for this logo and for our rebrand. And so we owe Mrs. Butler a debt of gratitude that we cannot pay. But I just wanted you to know, and I wanted her to know, that I will always remember her for being the right city manager at the right time.
Absolutely.
And so we wish her a happy and healthy retirement, and we wish her the opportunity to live her life and pursue her dreams to the best of her ability. Ms. Butler, thank you for everything that you've done for us, and we wish you well.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I concur. I'm sure this entire council does. I want to remind the council that we have another meeting tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. While we're all here sitting together. And that is to the tax. Yeah, it's a public hearing on the tax, which is not changing. We're keeping the same tax rate that we've had.
Did the building standards meeting get moved then?
They moved their time to 6:30.
Also, we'll want to make everyone aware of the weather. We were on a conference call today, Ms. Warren and myself. One of the things I do in a natural or man-made disaster is take over this whole thing and make sure that the citizens are safe. And we're keeping an eye on that. The forecast is a little better as far as rain. I'm not saying it's not going to rain, but it's not going to rain a whole lot tonight. It's going to rain some tomorrow, possibly 2 to 4 inches in isolated areas. The blob that's off the Yucatan Peninsula, the forecast for that is to come into the Gulf, but they don't expect that to become a tropical storm. They're not saying that it won't, but they believe, and this is the state talking, that it will just be a low pressure wave, which will cause some rain, but be out of here by Sunday. Which makes me extremely delighted, because Tuesday, for my wife's birthday, I'm taking her to Colorado for a week, and I sure didn't want to cancel all that, because obviously I couldn't leave if that was coming towards us. So with that, appreciate you guys being here this evening. Very productive workshop, very productive meeting. We'll have your ordinance drawn up, and you guys can come back. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.